Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Wednesday. It's July the 20th. This will be our chart lesson for today, and it's going to be short and sweet today. I mean, there just wasn't much here today. To be honest with you, it was very slow. We had a nice little rally here, but this was a difficult reversal here. Um, Easy to trip you up. I got at least one email. I'll explain. I usually don't talk about my trades a whole lot, but I got tricked here, and had a loser right here. I'll explain it to you. But generally, if this little pattern would have happened down here, it wouldn't have been so surprising. But it happened right here, and this is a pretty steep sell-off. So you would think you'd probably get a uh, retest of this low. But there's a couple of clues here to be careful. And when you get smarter than the market or think you're smarter than the market, this is what happened to you to fool you, and it never comes back again. So that's the reason you have to exit or you take a loser. But you had an overshoot here, uh, which should have been one clue. You got to be careful. You're probably going to get a break here for sure, but you might just get a reversal if it's going to be a range day. And when you draw this line up, I should have drawn my line there. And I probably would have paid more attention to what was going on. But notice that gap right there. Prices, for whatever reason, will gap over. Um, I'll see that little gap like that all the time on important support and resistance areas, and trend lines will do that as well. Trend lines and horizontal support and resistance. But when you see that, that's basically like a new point. Just like that's a new point, a new low point. You can treat those like new points. And so really you got a double bottom there, and you bounced right there with an overshoot coming down. Had I noticed that, I might have been a little bit less leery about getting short here, but I missed it. So but there still was the overshoot. There's still the fact that that little close outside is so close that you might have to overlook that. And basically all this is a short trap, and they trapped people. And you can tell it was a trap by how quickly when this reversed, it shot up, and then it pulls back and tests the upper part because there's resistance right there, and then off it goes. So they fooled a lot of people there, and I got fooled as well, and I'll explain it to you when we get there. But once we started going higher, here's your one leg, your first leg up. Just look for a measured leg, and you see we came up maybe a tick or two short a measured leg there. So I mean, that's real. That would have at least given you a target to shoot for once we started going higher. I would have been leery right here. I would have made sure we got through first, but you can see this channel right here. We don't get a break until way up here. We stay away from the EMA a good while. So we get a break here, two measured legs up. Those are two equal legs up. Nice bearish reversal bar, so a good entry there. But let me back out here, and we'll start from the beginning. But yeah, you're looking for a measured leg there, and then coming down, you get a two-legged correction. So I would be looking, you measure that first leg, I'd be looking for a target of at least that. And that's a perfect measured leg down. So you got two measured legs down, and then one more push, and then it reversed. And that probably, when we didn't go much further here, that probably should have been another indicator that the fact that we couldn't even get back to the trend line or the EMA and turn down, and we bounced real quick. A lot of times you'll get that after two strong legs down. You'll get the little failed move lower or fake out to the low side, and then it reverses. But let me back out just a little and talk about the trades. There's not many of them, like I said, so this won't take long. But when I came in, we had a shorter term when moving up here. We did get an overshoot of it, so I wasn't sure if maybe there's some bigger pattern. So you draw that trend line off those first two and drag it down. And it does tend to fit. We pushed through it and pulled back and tested it before we went lower. But it's really looking like a range day by the time we get in around 7 o'clock. And notice how it's moving down, and it pushes right on through the EMA before you ever get a break higher. That's a first clue. Hey, we're probably of a reversal pattern. We may be going lower, and you make a new low there. Pull back first entry, pull back. There's a second entry short there. It's not a perfect signal bar, but it's still good enough that you're probably going to at least test that low, and you may get another leg down. And we actually got a little more than a leg down. So um, I like that for a short, nice opening trade, nice quick move down. And you could have played this a couple of different ways. You could have, because it's not a perfect bearish signal bar, you might have waited on this one. And really just because it's a matching lows, you could have just put a stop right there too. But you might have let it break lower and put a limit order in here, or let it break lower below this one and drop a limit order. Somebody, I get questions about limit orders. 95% of your trades are going to be on a buy stop or a sell stop. One tick below your signal bar or one tick above your signal bar. The more aggressive trades, and sometimes some trades where it's not a perfect setup, you might use a limit order. Um, but generally, if you do use a limit order, your stop should still go above your signal bar right here. And in case you get in and it reverses and goes higher, you'll get stopped out the same place. So that you would if you use a stop order or whatever. So uh, yeah, you could just use a stop here if you wanted. Um, I don't have it on here, but there's a little trend line working up right there. And we do kind of push outside it and push up. But the main thing is there, that trend line right there. And it tested it once, twice, a couple of different times, and then off it goes. So, and it is a second entry short. It's tempting to go short right here as well, but you've got this overshoot somewhat. Um, there's not much room before here, not a whole lot of room till here. There's probably enough to get out for here, and it would have worked, but that's one of those where you just have to watch it go without you because it's not a great setup. I like this one for an aggressive move because of the double overshoot, and we did have, you know, this low right here, even though I didn't really recognize that it was probably a double bottom. Um, you're looking for it to snap back to the EMA, so but it is aggressive, so I did mark it green. But here's where it gets real interesting. It pushes back, and notice it did push through the EMA. It didn't go very far though. And you get a first entry, and it pulls back. You definitely don't want to take that second entry right there, just on a stop. But when it broke higher and turned and went out the other side, you might consider that because you do have a break, but you don't have a new high in place until it breaks higher and turns down. But this was a really nice looking bar as well. But as soon as you got that other swing, you had to draw this trend line. And as you can see, that if that's a close outside right there, which is really close, you still don't have a new high in place. So, and you're really kind of going sideways. So I don't like that short. However, when it pushes up here, now you got a little close outside, possibly a new high. And look at that little small bar, 2 ticks, very low risk. That's where I went short right there, thinking I would at least get a scalp out of it, but probably retest this low. And I got fooled. And the only thing you can do is either exit when it reverses, or since you really got a failed second entry short right there, you could almost add on again right there, or just reverse. Just go, when you got stopped out, go long, because we're probably going higher then. And especially since it's off that trend line. And so only, you know, since that's 2 ticks, 1 tick there, you're only going to lose 3 ticks. So it's a real small loss, and you gain it all back just by reversing on the trap, because you get 4 ticks, so you end up getting all your money back. And you actually would have had a runner on this one most likely that could have continued to climb until you got to these highs, or you got a break here, however you managed it. But then notice you make a new high, pull back first entry, pull back second entry. It does the same thing. It breaks lower, turns, goes out the other side. I just like entering right there on a stop. It's a key entry point, a nice strong bar. Once it closes, then you got to enter right into that high, so it makes it a little more questionable there. But as bullish as that is on the second entry, knowing that this is the highs here and we haven't got there and it's off a key entry point, I'd probably even risk a stop right there. And you can see how it pushes up. But this is where I would be concerned when it gets to that overnight high. But it actually pushes through there, pulls back and tests it. It's tempting to go long there, but don't do it because this is where you'll get tripped up a lot. And, but even though it doesn't close outside that trend line yet, it finally does here. And but look how sideways we're going. That's really a big double top, and you don't want to go short for sure. Even though you could treat this like a failed break higher, possibly because it's overnight high, you want room to get out before you get back to these lows, and you don't have that there. So no shorts or anything. But when it pulls back and gives the double test, now we've double tested this breakout area. That's a nice bullish bar. I like going long right there. It's a little aggressive because you don't have much room to scalp out. It really is a first entry. But if you want to be aggressive, you could consider that one. You don't want to take this. And then you actually get a second move up, a measured move, and look how bearish that is. A good bit away from the EMA. We hadn't been back to the EMA since way back here at 9 o'clock, and this is an hour and a half later. So we're probably coming back to at least to the EMA. So I like that one. And you're looking for a failure on this break higher, and you finally get it. But the main thing is you get the close outside, this big move up, two measured legs up, and a nice bearish bar. And you really got a double bar, double high matching, double bar matching highs there, really triple. Even though you want to tick higher, it's still 3 bars in a row that can't really push higher. And ride that one back. Pulls back here. You got a trend line. Again, you got a nice bearish bar. You figure you got to be concerned about this though, and you don't have a whole lot of room there. So the only way to take this trade is to make sure you can get in with enough room to get out before you get here. It would have pulled back and give you another try. But now you got to close outside for sure. And you've really got one here almost. And so it's 2 legs down. And so now you got another double bottom. That's like another double test of that low. We're probably going to bounce higher again because this previous resistance is now acting as support. We've tested it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's the 9th bar to test it, and it's holding. And even though that looks like a doji, it's only 1 tick off its high. That's kind of a bullish bar. And so I like that one just to get another scalp and maybe continue higher. But it retests this high. But notice your trend line working up, so you can't go short here. It never really triggers. Then it pulls up and it tests. Now you got a double test of this high and a nice bearish bar. So I like going short there. And that gets you into the 2 o'clock hour. So there just weren't many trades today. If you take out the aggressive ones, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trades. That's it that I really like. You might could plead for a couple more of these to be aggressive type trades, but I'm not even going to mark them. So just not much happening today. And that's why I say, I like to stop trading around 2 o'clock here, because if you make a mistake like I did right here at 2 o'clock, you don't have any time to make it back. Nothing happens after that. After 2 o'clock, we had, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 23 bars was all that printed after 2 o'clock. So for the last hour, we printed 23 bars. It's not even worth sitting there for. So yeah, not much happening today. And if you got fooled down here, you weren't the only one. There was me included with a couple of others. So I really thought I had them all outsmarted when it went higher here, because this is a failed second entry short. So you really could have gone long right there. Looking at it after the fact, I should have known that and marked that blue. But when you're looking at that in real time, you can see what that looked like in real time. It looks like you're just going sideways and probably going to get a retest. You couldn't really take this one even though notice the shorter term and the break and a new high, so it's tempting there. But you needed to have this line on those first two swings because that's really what sets your trend line on most trends. And you did have the overshoot. And if you saw this little gap over and all that, then there were some more clues there too that even I missed them. So, but yeah, not a great trading day. If you didn't hit your target on a day like that today, don't feel too bad. If you made money, you did good. And if you didn't lose any money, you probably did pretty good on today because there's just not much here. There's only one or two good trades, and if you caught them, they were great setups, but there weren't many of them. So my hope is it picks up as the week goes on. But really from 9:30 until 2 o'clock, or really 9:30 till the close, prices were between 67 and 70. 3 points. There's just not any room right. You got to be careful on this stuff in the middle. The only ones that are safe are the ones off the highs. Sorry, and the ones off the lows. And look, once again, once we got clear highs and lows, you could have bought any of these lows and made money, and you could have sold any of these highs and made money. That's the great thing about ranges once it's clear. But that was the problem here, is that when you come back to this point, that's not clear support. The clear overnight support's down here. So especially when we kind of pushed through right there, and it did bounce pretty quick though. And but I really thought we'd test that again, and I was wrong. And I really was more anticipating it because generally that's what happens. But if you really look at the price action closely, I misread it. So that's the thing about range days. If you get strong support, you don't always get a retest. Like here, you got an overshoot and you got a short trap, and then man, it rocketed on. So let's just hope tomorrow's better. But I'm going to wrap it up for today. There's not much else you can say about today. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.